Have you ever felt like your past follows you like a shadow? Like no matter how hard you try to move forward, something keeps pulling you back, as if you're tied to experiences, people, or emotions that only exist in your memories? You're not alone. This is one of the greatest challenges we face as humans, learning to let go of what was so we can embrace what's to come. Carl Jung, one of the most revolutionary thinkers in modern psychology, spent much of his life trying to understand why we cling so tightly to the past. And what he discovered is fascinating. The past we hold on to isn't just a collection of memories. It's an active part of our unconscious that continues to shape our decisions today, even when we don't realize it. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you repeated the same patterns in relationships, jobs, or big decisions? Jung called this the compulsion to repeat, and he believed it happens because there's something unresolved inside us that seeks healing through repetition. The problem is, repetition alone doesn't set us free. It just keeps us stuck in an endless cycle. Letting go of the past isn't just an act of willpower. It's not enough to say, "I won't think about this anymore," or "I'll get over this experience." The process is much deeper and requires facing parts of ourselves we've been avoiding. Jung called this confrontation shadow work, and it's perhaps the most significant challenge life throws at us when we want to break free from the past. The shadow, according to Jung, represents everything we've repressed, denied, or pushed out of our awareness. These are the parts of ourselves we find unacceptable, painful, or even shameful. And even though we try to ignore them, they don't disappear. They sink into our unconscious, where they continue to exert a powerful influence over our lives. This brings us to the first challenge life presents when we decide to let go of the past, facing our shadow. This isn't easy. It means looking directly at aspects of ourselves we've been avoiding, maybe for our entire lives. It could be resentment toward an absent parent, guilt over a decision that hurt someone, or a fear of rejection born from a painful childhood experience. Jung firmly believed that until we integrate these shadow parts, we can never fully break free from the past. It's like trying to swim while carrying an anchor. No matter how hard you try, something keeps dragging you back. But when you dare to face your shadow, something extraordinary happens. You start to realize that these parts you've been rejecting also hold energy, wisdom, and potential for growth. Can you think of a time when, after facing something you feared, you felt an immense sense of freedom? Maybe it was a tough conversation you put off for years, or maybe it was daring to do something you thought you couldn't. That feeling of liberation is exactly what happens when we integrate parts of our shadow. Not only do we free ourselves from the past, but we also reclaim psychic energy we were spending to keep those parts suppressed. The second challenge life gives us when we want to let go of the past is facing grief. Jung understood that letting go always involves loss, and every loss requires a grieving process. But oddly enough, this is something we often overlook. We think we can just turn the page without honoring what we're leaving behind, without allowing ourselves to feel the sadness, anger, or emptiness that loss can bring. Grief isn't just about losing people. We can also grieve past versions of ourselves, dreams that didn't come true, opportunities we didn't take, or paths we didn't follow. Jung insisted that this grieving is necessary for psychic integration. Without it, our release from the past will only be superficial, and sooner or later those unprocessed emotions will resurface in unexpected ways. Have you ever wondered why you sometimes overreact to seemingly minor situations? Jung would say it's because those situations are touching unresolved wounds, unprocessed grief that's still alive in your unconscious. When you allow yourself to fully feel, when you honor the grieving process, you're taking a crucial step toward authentic liberation. The third challenge, and perhaps the most transformative, is individuation. This concept, central to Jungian psychology, refers to the process of becoming a unique, integrated, and whole individual. Jung believed that much of our suffering comes from living disconnected from our true selves, following patterns, beliefs, and expectations we've internalized from the outside. Individuation is a journey to the center of yourself, a process of self-discovery that lets you recognize and dismantle the masks you've been wearing. These masks, which Jung called personas, are the different identities we adopt to fit into various social situations. And while they're necessary to some extent, when we over-identify with them, we lose touch with our essence. Think about it. Have you ever felt like you're living a life that's not really yours? Like you're following a script written by someone else? This disconnection is what Jung saw as the root of many modern neuroses. And letting go of the past means questioning that script, those expectations, and those borrowed identities we've been carrying, sometimes for our entire lives. Individuation is a challenge because it requires courage. Courage to question what you've always taken for granted. Courage to disappoint those who expected you to follow a certain path. Courage to say no when the world expects yes, and vice versa. It's the courage to choose yourself, to honor your inner truth above external expectations. And this act of bravery, according to Jung, is essential for breaking free from the past. Because what is the past we cling to, if not a collection of patterns, beliefs, and conditioning we've internalized? By embarking on the path of individuation, we actively question those patterns and allow ourselves to explore new ways of being. It's like rewriting our story, not to deny what was, but to integrate it in a way that lets us grow and move forward. The fourth challenge life presents when we want to let go of the past is learning to relate to our memories differently. Jung made an important distinction between remembering the past and being trapped in it. Remembering is a conscious act that lets us draw wisdom from our experiences. Being trapped, on the other hand, is an unconscious state where we repeat patterns without realizing it. This challenge involves developing what Jung would call reflective consciousness. It's the ability to observe our own thoughts, emotions, and patterns without fully identifying with them. It's like stepping back and watching your own mind in action. This awareness lets us recognize when we're being pulled by old patterns and gives us the chance to choose a different response. Have you ever noticed how, in moments of clarity, you can see patterns in your life that previously went unnoticed? Those aha moments are glimpses of reflective consciousness. And cultivating this awareness is essential for letting go of the past, because it helps us distinguish between a valuable memory and a burden we no longer need to carry. Jung believed our memories aren't just static records of the past. They're interpretations, narratives we've built around our experiences. And these narratives can be transformed. We can reinterpret our past from a more compassionate, wiser, more integrated perspective, not to deny or distort it, but to find deeper meaning that allows us to move forward. The fifth challenge, and perhaps the most subtle, is learning to relate to time differently. In modern society, we tend to have a very linear relationship with time, past, present, future, each in its own compartment. But Jung, influenced by ancient spiritual traditions, suggested a more circular or spiral view of time. From this perspective, the past isn't behind us, something we leave and never touch again. It's integrated into our present, constantly shaping how we experience each moment. And the future isn't some distant, unreachable thing. It's something we're actively creating with every choice we make now. Letting go of the past, then, doesn't mean shoving it into a forgotten corner of our mind. It means integrating it in a way that lets us relate to it from freedom, not compulsion. It means acknowledging its influence and learning from it, but not letting it dictate our future. Have you ever caught yourself saying things like, "This always happens to me," or "I'll never be able to change this"? Jung would say those statements reflect a static view of time, where the past inevitably determines the future. But when we adopt a more dynamic view, where every present moment is a chance to choose again, those statements lose their power over us. The sixth challenge we encounter on this journey of letting go of the past is perhaps the most paradoxical: learning to accept. Often, We cling to the past because there's something in it we haven't fully accepted. It could be a mistake we made, a loss we suffered, or even a success we feel we didn't deserve. This lack of acceptance creates an energetic knot inside us, a resistance that keeps the past alive in our present. Jung understood that acceptance isn't passive resignation. It's not saying, "This is how things are, and I can't do anything about it." It's a deeply active and transformative act of recognizing reality as it is, without denial, distortion, or unnecessary resistance. It's like stopping the fight against a river's current and learning to swim with it. The paradox is that it's often through full acceptance that we find the ability to change. When we stop wasting energy resisting what was, we have more resources to create what we want to be. It's like those martial arts where you use your opponent's strength to your advantage instead of fighting against it. Have you ever experienced how, after fully accepting a difficult situation, you suddenly feel a clarity and peace that seemed impossible before? That's the transformative power of acceptance. It doesn't change the past, but it radically changes your relationship with it, and that makes all the difference. Jung also talks about the seventh challenge, confronting our complexes. In Jungian terms, a complex is a cluster of ideas, memories, and emotions centered around a core theme, cohesive enough to influence our personality. These complexes often have roots in past experiences, especially traumas or significant events from childhood. What's fascinating about complexes is that they operate with a degree of autonomy in our psyche. It's like they have a life of their own. That's why we sometimes react in ways we don't understand or get triggered emotionally by seemingly harmless situations. In those moments, it's not us responding, it's the complex taking over. Letting go of the past means working with these complexes, recognizing when they're activated, and gradually integrating them into our awareness. This work isn't simple or quick. It takes patience, self-observation, and often the guidance of a professional. But according to Jung, it's one of the most important things we can do, because it frees us from unconscious forces that would otherwise keep controlling our behavior. Have you noticed how certain situations or people seem to push your buttons, triggering intense emotional reactions you later struggle to understand? Those are your complexes at work. And every time you recognize them, every time you say, "Oh, this is my abandonment complex talking," or "this is my perfectionism complex kicking in," you're taking a step toward freedom. The eighth challenge life presents is perhaps the most profound, reconciling with our mortality. Jung observed that many of our struggles to let go of the past are, at their core, tied to our fear of death. Not just physical death, but the small deaths we experience throughout life. The end of a relationship, a career change, or the loss of an identity that defined us. When we cling to the past, we're, in a sense, refusing to die. We refuse to let certain parts of ourselves, certain identities, certain attachments, reach their natural end. And while this resistance is understandable, it keeps us trapped in a state of suspension, neither fully in the past nor fully in the present. Jung believed that a more conscious relationship with our mortality sets us free. When we accept that everything in this life is temporary, including ourselves, something shifts in how we relate to time. We no longer need to cling so desperately. We can let go, flow, and transform. We can allow the old to die so the new can be born. Have you ever felt that strange mix of sadness and freedom when letting go of something that mattered to you? That bittersweet feeling is the intuitive recognition that every transformation involves both a death and a birth. And according to Jung, honoring both aspects is essential for our psychic growth. The ninth challenge takes us into the realm of symbols and archetypes, core concepts in Jungian psychology. Jung discovered that many of our attachments to the past operate on a symbolic, not literal level. An object, person, or place can become a symbol of much deeper aspects of our psyche, and it's to those symbols that we cling. For example, someone might hold on to a past relationship not because of the person themselves, but because that relationship symbolized safety, self-worth, or connection. Or someone might resist leaving a job not for the job itself, but because it represents stability, identity, or purpose. Recognizing the symbolic dimension of our attachments lets us work with them on a deeper level. Instead of just trying to get over an ex or forget a place, we can ask, what does this symbolize for me? What deeper need was being met? And most importantly, how can I meet that need in new, more integrated ways? Jung also warned about the dangers of psychic inflation, which happens when we over-identify with an archetype or symbol. For instance, someone might get stuck in the role of victim or savior, archetypal roles that hold immense power in our collective psyche. Letting go of the past also means recognizing when we're trapped in one of these archetypal patterns and finding a more balanced relationship with them. The 10th challenge, and with this we come full circle, is the integration of opposites. Jung spoke of the coincidentia oppositorum, the coincidence or union of opposites, as a goal of psychic development. In our conscious mind, we tend to think in dualities: good, bad, strong, weak, past, future. But the unconscious operates with a different logic, where these opposites can coexist and even complement each other. Letting go of the past doesn't mean rejecting or denying it, nor does it mean staying trapped in it. True liberation comes from integration, from finding a space within ourselves where the past and present, the old and new, the known and unknown, can coexist in a dynamic and fruitful relationship. This is perhaps the most sophisticated challenge because it requires transcending our usual either-or thinking. It requires developing what Jung would call a third position, a space of consciousness where we can embrace apparent contradictions without feeling divided by them. Have you ever felt love for someone who hurt you, or gratitude for a painful experience because it helped you grow? Those moments of apparent emotional contradiction are glimpses of this integration of opposites, and cultivating them is one of the most powerful ways to free ourselves from the past without denying or rejecting it. Now, after exploring these 10 challenges life presents when we want to let go of the past, I invite you to reflect on your own journey. Which of these challenges resonate with you most right now? Where do you feel you're making progress? And where do you feel stuck? Remember, according to Jung, this isn't a linear process with a clear endpoint. It's more like a spiral, where we revisit these challenges again and again, each time from a deeper level of awareness. There's no moment where we can say, that's it, I've completely let go of my past. It's an ongoing journey of integration, transformation, and growth. And most importantly, you're not alone in this journey. Jung reminded us that while each of us has a unique path, we all share the same fundamental challenges, the same archetypes, the same basic psychic structures. Your struggle is also my struggle, and the struggle of all humanity. In that sense, every step you take toward your own liberation contributes to our collective liberation. So I encourage you to be brave. Ascended from human to superhuman. Dare to face those parts of your past you've been avoiding. Honor your grieving process. Question the scripts you've been following. Develop a reflective awareness of your patterns. Redefine your relationship with time. Practice radical acceptance. Recognize your complexes. Reconcile with your mortality. Work with your symbols and archetypes. And seek the integration of opposites in your life. Because every time you face one of these challenges, every time you take a step toward letting go of your past, you're creating space for something new, something more authentic, something more aligned with your true self. And that, according to Jung, is the true purpose of our lives, to become who we really are. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to share it with someone who might benefit from it. Sometimes, the right words at the right time can spark a profound transformation. And please leave a comment below, telling me which part of this message hit home for you, or which challenge you're facing right now. Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Thank you for being here, for your attention, and for your willingness to grow. As Jung said, I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become. And you, what do you choose to become today? Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you want more content like this, and hit the bell to get notified. Together, we can build a community of people committed to personal growth and the collective transformation our world so desperately needs. See you in the next video. Remember, the past doesn't define your future unless you choose to let it. Freedom is in your hands, right here, right now. Until next time.